A very good morning to everyone joining us from Sri Lanka, and a very good afternoon to everyone joining us from Malaysia. Millennium College of Aviation Studies would like to warmly welcome you and thank you for joining us on a Saturday. And we hope you gain and learn something new from today's webinar. The topic for today is the future of aviation industry in Malaysia and joining us today is our guest speaker, Mr. Hasrol Soib, a senior aviation lecturer in Malaysia and an aviation professional. Mr. Tishan Gunawardena, our moderator and aviation lecturer at Millennium College. And Mr. Abdullah Selhi, the managing director of Millennium College, and myself, Ranisha Athapattu, head of academics of Millennium College. Before we continue, I would like to kindly inform you all to please ensure your microphone is on mute. And if you have any questions, please enter them into the chat box. I would now like to ask Mr. Abdullah to please take over and give everyone an insight about Millennium College.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Ranisha, and a very, very warm welcome and a very good morning to all the aviation enthusiasts who have joined us from Sri Lanka, and a very good afternoon to all those joining us from Malaysia. Let me start off by thanking all the participants for joining us today. I would like to sincerely welcome you all and hope that you will gain a thing or two out of today's webinar. Our guest speaker for today, Mr. Hasrol Soib, thank you very much for taking your time out of your busy schedule to enlighten the participants on the topic for today. And I believe in Malay, it's Terima Kasih. Terima Kasih. Thank you in Malay. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Mr. Hasrol. And last but not the least, I would like to thank our moderator and MCAS lecturer for his efforts in organizing this webinar, along with our MCAS team members. Thank you very much to all of you for organizing this webinar. Moving on, I will not take much time. However, I would like to give the audience a small overview on Millennium College of Aviation Studies, abbreviation as MCAS. So MCAS was recently incepted with the main purpose and goal of advancing aviation education in Sri Lanka. Before MCAS was incepted, there was no availability of an aviation management degree here at Sri Lanka. Students who sought to follow an aviation management degree had to unfortunately spend anywhere between a minimum of 4 to 6 million Sri Lankan rupees, LKR Sri Lankan rupees, to be able to study overseas. And this dilemma has been ongoing for a long time, and it's actually one of the reasons why many professionals in the Sri Lankan aviation industry, they are not qualified with aviation qualification. They may have years of experience in the industry, however, they cannot climb the ladder or move into managerial positions because there was nobody offering such aviation qualifications. And perhaps it's also one of the reasons for the lack of awareness in the aviation industry in Sri Lanka. But aviation enthusiasts fear no more. MCAS is here to serve the development of aviation sector in Sri Lanka. We provide locally and internationally recognized aviation management degrees in partnership with Lincoln University College, Malaysia. It is a UGC, University Grants Commission recognized university, and we are very proud to say that we are the first college to run an aviation management degree in Sri Lanka. And we are also proud to say on that note, we do not solely base our education on classroom learning, but we look at the other opportunities such as conducting industry-based webinars, practicals, and for which I must say, we are also the first, or at least one of the very first, to conduct such an industry-based webinar in Sri Lanka with an esteemed guest speaker like Mr. Hasrol Soib. So with that statement, I conclude what I have to say, and I hope everyone will learn, enjoy, and gain something out of today's webinar. If you do have any questions, please enter it in the chat box, and it will be answered at the end of the webinar, where we will be having a question and answer session. So thank you very much for everyone again for joining us, especially to Mr. Hasrol and Mr. Tishan and our aviation enthusiasts. And I conclude what I have to say, and I hand over the session to Mr. Tishan. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Very good morning for all Sri Lankans, and very good evening for all Malaysians. So before I move on, Let me give a basic introduction about our guest speaker, Hasrol Soib. So just to give a heads up about this amazing guy. So he have started his training career for past 6 years, conducting customer services experience, motivational techniques, communication, creative thinking. When it comes to his the educational qualifications, he's a degree holder in business administration and a master's in business administration, and as well as he's reading for his PhD in accounting, and as well as he's an associate professional in Malaysian Institute of Management. So when it comes to his aviation experience, he has moreover like 20 years of experience in terms of aviation, telecommunication, educational services, and teaching financial management, accounting, and business strategies. And as well as he's a project management advanced from PMI Institute. So being majored in KL Airport Services as a trainee, and then continuing his studies for Selcom Berhad, Malaysian Institute of Management, and starting his career as a flight operations officer for KL Airport Services, as well as other stakeholders in the aviation industry. So currently, he's a university coordinator for a leading university in Malaysia, as well as a senior lecturer for the same university. So warm welcome to the webinar, Mr. Hasrol, and your participation today in despite of your busy schedule is much appreciated. Basically, I was a student under you years ago, and it was nice to see you back again in a situation like this. So today, as Mr. Director told us, we'll be discussing future of aviation industry in Malaysia and Asia post COVID-19. So before I hand over the session to Mr. Hasrol, let me take you through on the aviation industry as of today. When it comes to the aviation industry pre-pandemic, I'll be not talking about post-pandemic right now. It's up to Mr. Hasrol to continue about that. But when it comes to the pre-pandemic situation, it's a place where the aviation industry was booming up in the industry. Aviation industry is a factor where the GDP of every country is influenced. Like with aviation, there are passenger transportation and as well as cargo transportation happening, and as well as it's contributing to the country's GDP. For example, it can be Sri Lanka, it can be India, it can be Malaysia, it can be Singapore when it comes to Asian continents, and when it comes to US country, it can be United States, and when it comes to Europe, it can be United Kingdom. So as of today, in today's environment, aviation industry is depleting and bleeding due to the COVID environment. So that is why we are here to discuss what kind of environment we need to be at and how can we survive in this industry and how can we come up through this industry to the pre-pandemic days so that you can travel easily to every country and have a visit. To continue the discussion, the subject matter expert is here. So Mr. Hasrol, it's over to you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for Mr. Tishan. Okay, I would like to thank you to this MCAS for inviting me as guest speaker for today. So anyway, thank you so much for Mr. Abdullah from MCAS. And not forgetting about the from the Millennium College of Aviation, the staff, the participant from Sri Lankan, and the rest of the participants from Malaysia. And I would like to thank you so much for joining for this webinar session. I believe that on this webinar session, will be a lot of this information I'm going to be discussed here, especially how we are able to be ensures that our aviation world is raw back in the aviation industry. So anyway, thank you so much for inviting me again, okay, representing of Malaysia, to talking about this future of aviation industry in Malaysia and Asia region, which is specifically with the post-COVID-19. So very challenging for me to find this information about the post-COVID-19, but actually based on statistics, yes, we can predict what's going to be happen after the post-COVID-19. So this is about this introduction. Other than that, I just want to describe about myself. Okay, so at the moment, I'm senior lecturers from University College of Aviation Malaysia, and I'm also is industrial player as well, especially in the aviation world, actively giving a talk, actively involved in the seminar, okay, actively involved as a moderator as well, related with this current issue in the aviation industry. So recently we have a seminar with the deviations groups in Malaysia. We talk about this the implication of vaccination program toward aviation industry in Malaysia. We receive overwhelming from the participant in Malaysia, more or less around 200 participants during that times joining for this session virtually. Okay, so and then for this session, we also been involved in numbers of the industry key player, which is coming from the aviation industry, coming from the Malaysian regulator, and then it's coming from this trainer, okay, in the aviation industry. So giving a view related with this, the implication of the vaccination program to the aviation industry in Malaysia. So today, we're going to be discuss, okay, related with the future of aviation industry in Malaysia. So on my view, okay, related with this aviation industry, just to get you in the aviation world, what's going on about the COVID-19. As you know that for the COVID-19 is tremendously affect the overall of the aviation industry in the world, across the globes. It's not that in Malaysia, across of the globes nowadays. Like institutions informs that numbers of the airline companies bleeding. So talking about the bleeding means that look at the financial statements nowadays, all the company is a red zone, that the words is running in loss. Okay, so affect the overall of the aviation industry. Aviation industry here is not a focus with the airlines company solely, but it's focused with the airport operators as well. Because airport operator and the other stakeholder who have been involved in the aviation industry. So all this sector will be affect the overall of this performance, especially related with the financial performance, and can be the other sector also might be impact. As you know that the tourism industry is impact because of the COVID-19. The collapse of the aviation industry, the effect of the COVID-19 to the aviation industry, it might be impact with the tourism industry. It's not in Malaysia, across of the globes nowadays. So, but perhaps that we can see that the light, the light at the end of the tunnel, because of the vaccination program will be imposed, okay, in the whole of the globes now. So perhaps that aviation's industry back to raw in the aviations again, and we love to see that people's flying using the air transport modes. Okay. Okay. So on this aviation's world, talking about statistics. Okay. So people love to see that about statistics. I do have do a research related with statistics, especially related with the numbers of passengers, okay, related with these the numbers of the aircraft flying, and the other one is related to the job employability. So these are one of things that affected because of the COVID-19. We cannot be benchmarked with this one of the diseases have been occurred last time, a decade. Okay, we also facing the disease last time back 2002. Maybe some of you remember about this SARS, syndrome acute respiratory system, which is this disease coming from the Guangdong, China, okay, which is coming from the influenza virus, which affected the overall of the aviation industry. But it's not a tremendously effect like the COVID-19 now. After that, we're having the disease related with the GE, okay, GE disease. The other word we call it Japanese encephalitis disease, which is this disease is coming from the Japan, okay, also be infect the overall of the aviation industry during that time. And after that, we're having the disease we call that is MERS-CoV, okay, again, it's related with the coronavirus, okay, again, influenza virus, in other words, which is mostly impact in the Middle East country. So all these disease, okay, is shows that the statistics about this disease occurred in the aviation world, which is affected the aviation industry and the other industry. But look at how serious it. These are three diseases compared with COVID-19. Okay, so if you look at on the statistics on the SARS, it's not that prolonged until for 2 years. Okay, same goes to MERS-CoV, same goes to the GE or Japanese encephalitis disease. It's not the impact overall. But look at the COVID-19 nowadays, it impact the overall of the aviation industry. You can see that the statistic shows that more than 3 million people, okay, 3 million people affect about the COVID-19. So you can see is that the statistic is increased. Okay, in the Malaysia itself, based on current situation, more or less 600, half million, more or less 600 people are affected by the COVID-19. Okay, more or less around 2,000 people in Malaysia is dead because of the COVID-19. So this shows that's how the series of the COVID-19 is in Malaysia. So the proactive action should be taken by all these key players, especially in the aviation world, okay, to overcome these issues, okay, or this disease. So to ensure that we're able to overcome this, it's not that coming to this one of the specific people, so that each of us need to be contribute to cure, to ensure that the COVID-19 is not the spread in the world. So that the mechanisms nowadays need to be effective enough to implement, to ensure that to protect the industry world, okay, especially in this aviation industry. So back to these questions that I received here, that talking about this aviation world, okay, aviation world, as you know, talking about the aviation definition specifically. So it's not that refer with the aircraft, any other things, okay, any other equipment or transportation, so that it can be the other is modern definition related with this equipment that able to fly. Aviation is not that limited with the airlines company. Nowadays, you can see that drones is part of the aviation, right? Drone is part of the aviation. Unmanned, okay, vehicle, the other word we call it drone. So unmanned aircraft, we call it, or UAV, the other words, unmanned vehicle. So it's part and parcel under the aviation term. So the other word, we can see that drones nowadays is being commercialized for agriculture. So the other aviation is not that transport person from one place to the other place. It might be using for the agricultures domestically, using the other industry. Aviations nowadays can be related with the courier service. You can see that how these are the giant courier service is using the UAV drones to send the parcel and any other goods to the doorstep, the passengers or the customer's doorstep. So you can see that the aviation is contribute something to the industry in the world now. Okay, so this one of the things that can be explained and can be shared to you about the definition of the aviation.
Yes, sir. So my question is, when it comes to the definition of aviation, where as of today, as you told us that the aviation is depleting and there's a COVID-19 effect coming into the word aviation. So we need aviation to survive. We need aviation to correlate with the country's GDP, country's gross domestic production. Yeah. So when it comes to the countries which doesn't have a sea border, they'll be relying on air transportation, which is cargo in and out and passengers in and out. So how would you define, like how would you correlate your answer in a way where how aviation affects those countries where there's no sea border or there's no any other borders covering which influence the import and export of the countries? but only the import and export lies within aviation.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Tishans, for the question. So talking about this, the country, how the country able to get the benefit from this airlines company or aviation's world. So as you know that in the aviation's industry, it involve a numbers of the stakeholders, okay, which is related with the airport operators, okay, which is related with the airlines company, ground handling service. It could be related with the tourism industry for different industry and etc. So once the country is get the benefit from the aviation's world, talking about the GDP, gross domestic products, especially related with the country. Yes, aviation is tremendously a contribute to the GDP of the country, especially the country were involved in the international business. Okay, I give you an example to you that in the Asian region, you can see that the Singapore country, which is this country is survives based from the interport business. So the other word, they depend on the air transport to survive, depend on the air transport to run the business. So you can see that how this the aviation industry contribute to the GDP in Singapore. Same goes to Malaysia. So we're having numbers of the aviation industry in Malaysia who are contribute to the GDP, okay, of Malaysia. Okay, so look at on the statistics here. It's not that contribute to the GDP itself. The other way around. The other word, job opportunity, also contribute to the GDP to the country. Okay, so airlines company fly from one place to their place. You can see that it can be brings the tourists from other country to Malaysia or Asian region. Then have the currency exchange over that, so that the word potentially that can be contribute to the GDP in particular of the country, including Malaysia. If you look at the statistics that the Middle East tourists fly over to Malaysia, one tourist is spend more or less around 5,000 ringgit Malaysia for 1 week. Sorry, for 1 day. We just imagine that 1 million of the tourists fly over to Malaysia and spend in Malaysia. So the other word, it might be contribute to the GDP overall in the Malaysia. Same goes to the other country. So that's why we look at the aviation industry is one of the stimulus, okay, economic stimulus, the other word, to boost the economy in the particular of the country, especially to nowadays we look at for the no boundaries, okay, from others country policy, no boundary policy, so that every people are freely to fly from others country to the other country. So it's giving the advantage to the country itself to gains the revenue. So revenue here, of course, we're talking about the economy based on fiscal policies. Okay, fiscal policies, how the company able to generate the incomes, how the company uses this income for the people to build the infrastructure. One of the infrastructure is airport operators, airport itself. Okay, I give you an example to you in Malaysia. We're having a numbers of airport in Malaysia. You can see the ones of the international airport. We got KLIA, Kuala Lumpur International Airport, which is hub and spoke airport. So all the airlines company across of the globe is a land in this airport. So then it can be potentially contribute to the growth of the Malaysians GDP. These are things. And then other than that, the facilities itself. So once the governments invest in the facilities, especially the airport side, enhance the passengers experience at the airport side, it might be giving the impact in terms of the quality of service provided by the airport itself. That's why you can see that numbers of the airport operators, airline company look at for the international recognition to get this the recognition that the airport shows that the specific standard and specific quality that desire, okay, by the passengers across of the globes. Nowadays, look at for the new era, look at for the green buildings nowadays, you can see is that the airport is going toward to the green airport concept. If you look at in the Asians, one of the green airport concept is a Changi Singapore, okay, which is using this concept, which is these airports look like, when the passing in the airport, it look like that you have been in the natural environment, okay? And then less or efficiently using the electricity and using the solar technology, and the airport design itself is look like more eco-friendly. So these are look at into that contribute something to the passenger experience, contribute something to this revenue or GDP to the particular of the country, and as well as shows that the contribution to the people, okay, in the particular of the country itself related with that job opportunity. So you just imagine that the job opportunity is a tremendous effect, okay, to the GDP of the country itself. One aircraft use more or less around 100 people to manage this aircraft, including the ground handling, including the crew, including all these operation. You just imagine that one aircraft is 100 people. If you have numbers of the aircraft who land in particular of the airport, you can see that the airline company offer with a huge job opportunity, that each of the people at this Malaysia is spend the money to the country to buy things, so that the word indirectly the government will get the direct tax or indirect tax, okay, from this transaction. So that the word it contribute to the GDP of the country overall. I hope this answers this question from you, Mr. Tishan.
Yes, sir. Yes. When I was staying in Malaysia like years ago, I don't know whether you guys still have this concept in Malaysia. Malaysia was categorized as Satu Malaysia, right? The unity of people, the unity of the government, the unity of other stakeholders, the unity of everybody inside Malaysia. It can be a tourist, it can be a business entrepreneur, or it can be someone else. So how this unity, like Satu Malaysia, plays a major role when it comes to COVID-19 fighting? How governments and how government involvement happens when it comes to civil aviation in Malaysia? What are maybe the restrictions imposed, or how about the MCOs imposed, like the movement control orders? How it affects the industry in Malaysia?
Yeah, thank you so much for this very good question related with the MCO. We just look at on the government initiative. Okay, government initiative is one of the key point here. Okay, to manage a crisis, because it's a COVID-19, it's a disease crisis, is in Malaysia. So the government is one of the main role to initiate and to implement a new strategy that can be ensures that the COVID-19 is under control and can be recovered. In other words, so due to that, the Malaysian government is initiate the MCO. We call it Movement Control Order. Okay, so of course in Malaysia you can see that it's multiracial. I believe that Tishan have experience in Malaysia last time. Yeah. Okay, so you have been mingled around with all these Malaysian peoples. Okay, you have been having a friends with the all the Malaysians people, different races, different religions, different belief. Okay, so we are learn to each other actually. These are dynamics of the Malaysian. It's the beauty of the Malaysian. We learn each of the races in Malaysia, because each of the race in Malaysia, they have their own belief, they have their own culture. So that we cross culture across of the races in Malaysia. Coming to the COVID-19, all the races in Malaysia is unite. Like Tishan mentions that last times that the previous government initiated with the Satu Malaysia, or one Malaysian. I believe that you know about the Satu Malaysia, Tishan?
Yeah, of course, Satu is one.
Okay. Okay, so this is Satu Malaysia. So all the people in Malaysia is unite, okay, to combat this MCO. Look at the initial government is initiate the MCO, first MCO back to 18 March 2020. So the whole Malaysia is locked down, full lockdown. So all the Malaysian people comply with this rule from the Malaysian government. The statistic shows that after 3 months, the case of COVID-19 is reduced okay, the case of COVID-19 is reduced, then the government start to open back the economy, okay, to open back the sector that allowed people to go outside, allowed people to work, allowed people to have their own activities, okay. Then start people is being in industry and work. The reason is the governments need to balance between two things. One's related with the national health, which is involving with the people. Second, economic. Okay, second is economic. So these two things need to be balanced. If the government impose that MCO, okay, so means that they're not allowed people to go for work, stay at home for long period, it might be impact the economic of the country itself overall. Statistics shows that in Malaysia, if the economy is not run, the way is not that the economy is not that been active for one day, we cost more or less above than 2 billion loss to the government. Okay, this is a statistic from the Malaysian government. Yeah. So you just imagine that small country in Malaysia, one day, no business, the country lost revenue 2 billion. You just imagine that for the big country. Okay, so for 3 months, do you think that the government can be afford to obligate all the losses? 2 billion per day multiplied by the 19th day. So the government will be lost the revenue from this. So look at on this phenomena. Okay, look at on this phenomena. So the government is allowed people to work. Okay, allow people to work. At the same time, the government is initiate with the standard operation procedure, we got the SOP, to ensure that all the people here is to comply. Likewise, wearing a mask, okay, face mask, wearing a face shield, okay, sanitize the hand sanitizer, the other word. So all this, and the other one is social distance. Minimum is 1 meter. It's one of the elements that to reduce the infection of the COVID-19, okay, in Malaysia. I believe that these concepts or this policy also been initiated by the World Health Organization, or we call it WHO. Okay, this initiates by the WHO that Malaysia is complied with this SOP. So due to that, the case is reduced. But unfortunately, you know that the virus is coming with a different variant. Okay, talking about this the microorganism, okay, like people have their own evolution, change, people change, same goes to the microorganism, also change. Okay, they can be mutants. Okay, they can be mutant. So the other word, they coming with new variant of the COVID-19 virus that will be tremendously affect the Malaysians against now. Now we're having the third wave of the COVID-19 in Malaysia. Okay, you can see that from the media shows that the person in Malaysia who affected with COVID-19 more or less around 7,000 plus per day. Okay, is the impact the overall of the Malaysians' health. Okay, due to that, the government need to take initiative and lock down again in Malaysia for second time. See, for third time actually, we could lockdown 3.0. We could is a MCO, we could FMCO, Full Movement Control Order 3.0. So this is initiate from the government to lock down again to ensure that the case will be reduced. Okay, to ensure that the virus not spread over to whole of the Malaysian people. Due to that, this is initiate from the government that to ensure that the health system paralyzed. This is things that when the health of these Malaysians system is paralyzed, it might be impact the overall of the healthy system in Malaysia. Same goes to the other Asian region. You can see is that this Indonesia example that the case is increased now. Okay, the variants coming in from I'm not naming the country is coming from the virus because the virus is being founded in particular of the country. That's why we name it the country. Okay, we name it the country to add on with the variant of this virus, type of the virus. Yeah. So look at on these things that the government need to be looked into. Number one, talking about this government policy. It's coming from the government to provide some SOP to ensure that people are going to be follow this SOP. Second, it could be related with the people itself. The understanding of the people to understand about SOP, what the benefit of the SOP, the whole of the Malaysian. Okay, so they are the word. Each of the people in the particular of the country have to play their role. Play the role to keep themselves safe all the time. Okay, so they are the word. Comply with the SOP, and then run the economic as usual. Okay, so that we can balance between the health system and between the economics of the particular of the country. So this is things that related with this how the government impose that. So talking about this, I just want to add on here related with this aviation industry in Malaysia. It's one of the elements that can be contribute something. Most of these virus transition are coming across of the globes. You can see is that numbers of the countries nowadays close the border. Okay, same goes to the Malaysia and others country. So the question mark, why we close the border? Okay, it's a question mark, why we close the border? So when we close the border, how we can ensure that the country able to run a business? Because no people going to be fly to the particular of the country. So how the people's not spend. So they think that the country going to have a revenue. The question is coming in. So look at the phenomena and look at in this business strategy. Aviation industry is not that all of the aviation, the sector we affect in aviation industry. In aviation industry, you can see is that the border closed only for the commercial aircraft. Means that carry passengers. The disease is coming from passengers. Okay, but it's not coming from cargo. Okay, so now you can see that the freighter aircraft or freighter airlines company are is booming now. Make a profit from the operation. You can see that how this, you can see the statistic about the Alibaba. You know, Alibaba, one of the we call it e-commerce in China, is get benefit from this. You can see that in Malaysia, one we've got this Lazada, which is one of the e-commerce, is make profit from this. Shopee, okay, one of the e-commerce in Malaysia, make profit on this. Even though people nowadays not going to be physically at the shopping mall to buy a thing, but people nowadays can be buy the thing through virtually online. They're the words. So the transaction goes online. The business running online. So the method of doing business totally different. They are the word we call a 360-degree change nowadays. So look at in this phenomena. It's not the effect, the overall of the aviation industry, but some of the company is getting a profit. So they are the words. If you look at one of the airline company in the world, they change the business model. They convert from the commercial aircraft, carried passengers, change to the cargo or freighter aircraft. They remove all the passenger seats in the compartment. They're using passenger seats as a cargo compartment to carry a cargo from one place to the other place. So that is one of the opportunities that the airline company able to be explored, okay, to succeed in the challenging world in the aviation industries now related to the COVID-19. So these are things that I can be giving a view to you. And then I just want to add on related with the
Let me, Mr.
statistics.
Hasrol, let me interrupt.
Yes.
Just to make the audience aware, like I forgot to mention that you are a weight and balance licensed load controller from Civil Aviation Authority um, and you have
Okay.
almost, excluding A380, you have almost every aircraft type rated. Am I right?
Yeah. Yes.
So you told me that when it comes to the passenger aircraft, they are removing seats and they are refurbishing the cabin to accommodate cargo, perishable cargo, console, or any other cargo. So how does it affects the airworthiness of the aircraft, and afterwards, how does it affects the passengers if the passengers are flying in a combi type aircraft?
Okay, thank you, Tishans, for this question. Yes, the airlines company are look into that, okay, to convert the passenger aircraft to the freighter. Okay, yes, I do have experience in the flight operation officer for the last, I think for the last 10 years, okay. So I've been a flight operation officer for 7 years, okay. I do have a license, okay, all this weight and balance license, all the aircraft types, except for the new aircraft model, which is Airbus 380-800, and the other one is a Airbus 350 XWB and 787 Dreamliner. This one is the old, this one new aircraft model, but all the aircraft model, I do have a license. Talking about this process, okay, of the cargo, yes, it may be impact with the operation, okay. So impact of the operations, of course, look at in this profitability, okay. The airline company need to be focused on the profitability. So change the model and mechanism, okay. Aircraft, passengers aircraft can be converted to the freighter, okay. It's very technical term to using extremes, okay. We call it CG, central gravity of the aircraft. Okay, this one is related with technical parts, especially in the aviation industry. Others remain unchanged. Flight plans remain unchanged. Destination it could be introduce a new destination or remain unchanged. The only thing is the specification of the aircraft itself. Okay, aircraft have two things. Number one, we got the aircraft specification. The other one, we got the aircraft performance. Okay, so aircraft specification is referred with the aircraft body, the maximum limitation of the aircraft itself. Okay, we call this maximum composition weight of the aircraft. Okay, if you're familiar with this terminology in aviation, we call that is maximum zero fuel weights, maximum takeoff weight, and maximum landing weights. Or that what some people call it MZFW, MTOW, MLW, and some other airline using is MRTOW. So we call that as maximum regulated takeoff weight. So this the composition weight is one of the elements that to ensure for the aircraft stability, okay, either for the commercial or cargo. So when the airlines company converts the aircraft to the freighter, of course, the compartment itself, okay, all the seat need to be removed. The compartment itself need to be suitable to the cargo, especially related with the locking system. Talking about the locking system here is when you load the cargo in the compartment, need to ensure that the cargo is fixed in the place, because aircraft flying like you're driving your car, you know. So if movement is shaking, okay, especially related with turbulence, okay, you're driving your car, you have the hole in the ropes. It could be shakes the car conditions or stability. Same goes to the aircraft. When the aircraft is been involved in the bad weather, example, the aircraft is shaking. How to ensure that the cargo is fixed in the place and the CG remain the same when the aircraft arrive at destination. So then it come up with the regulator, Civil Aviation Organization, and then also related with the International Air Transport Association, and then it could be related with this FAA, Federal Aviation Association, and each of the country, they have their own regulator. Okay, like Malaysia, we having here is CAAM. Okay, CAAM. Others country, they have the others civil authorities to regulate the regulation and to ensure that the airlines company complied it, okay, with the regulation for the safety of the people who are flying this aircraft. and for the safety overall of the aviation people and aviation industry overall to comply with this. This is safety and security parts. Yeah. So look at in this scenario, these are benefits that can be get by the airline company, especially to come up with new policies, to come up with new procedure, and to enhance in terms of the profitability overall, and stop bleeding. That was the most important thing. Yes, that's all.
So you told me that the regulators are involved in this pandemic. All right. So can you give us an insight how Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia influence Malaysian aviation industry in terms of COVID-19? What are their standard and procedures, what they have imposed to the aviation industry in Malaysia? What kind of rules and regulations?
Okay, thank you so much. So recently, the Malaysian government announced about the IATA Health Passport. Okay, the IATA Health Passport is one of the initiatives from the government of Malaysia and the CAM. Some others destination is been allows the airline company to fly. Okay, especially the low risk destination. The question is how to ensure that these passengers are safe, okay, to fly to that destination. And of course, on that destination, we might be carried the passengers to Malaysia. Okay, how to track, how to treat these people safe, how to treat these passengers safe, because the priority, the ones of the annex available or annexes available in the ICAO to ensure about the safety and security of the passengers. You can refer with Annex 19, be exactly, okay, SMS, Safety Management System, to ensure that about this passenger is safe. Okay, so this the things that introduced with the IATA Health Passport, and the passengers who will fly to that destination need to quarantine 14 days before flying time. Okay, but recently government introduced is 3 days before. Right? And then the government also initiates that the vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccine. So the passengers who are willing to travel overseas need to be screened and need to take the vaccine, okay, before the passenger is granted to travel to overseas. In fact, the IATA Health Passport is provide the virtually or electronically health declaration, which can be used as a proof from the authorities to ensure that each of the passengers are safe and free from COVID-19. This is one of the recently introduced by the Malaysian government, which is under CAM to the aviation industry, which is the first airline in the Asian region. Malaysian Airline Berhad is introduced the IATA Health Passport to the destination. So the passengers need to comply with this. This is how the government look at as a regulator to ensure safe for the passengers and safe for the people who have been in Malaysia. I believe that other Asian country in the region is look into this initiative to have the overall or synergy of the Asian country. We cannot be assumed that one country who have been implemented for the IATA Health Passport. So overall of the airline company should be compliant. Okay, overall of the country should be compliant. Why actually I say should? The reason is because of this implication of COVID-19. For information that if once of the one company is introduced for the IATA Health Declaration, but others country are not that implemented, so it might be giving the impact to spread the virus again, okay, across of the globes on other country. That's why the cooperations and the initiative from the others country are encouraged to participate and to comply with this. This initiative is not that coming from Malaysia solely. actually been introduced by the ICAO under the World Health Organization that proposed that to the aviation's company to impose the IATA Health Declaration to ensure that all these passengers are safe and to protect others country as well. Due to that cases, if you look at recently, if you look at on this aviation's news, okay, recently, the airlines company nowadays is start fly, okay, across of the globes now, okay, and look at on the scenarios that the Saudi airline is open the border, okay, and then they have the agreement with other airlines company in the Middle East to transport passengers, okay, even though we are still in the COVID-19 disease, but the airline company take the actions against this. And look at on this airlines company in Europe, okay, they start open, okay, the border, especially in the European Union, okay. So as you know that UK is no more under the EU, okay, for information, UK is under no more EU under the Brexit policy. Brexit stands for the British exit from the EU. So EU nowadays is fly the aircraft to the EU. The British fly the aircraft to the EU country. So look at on this trend, okay. Based on the statistics, the numbers of the aircraft flying from one country to the country now is increased. Okay, now it's increased. Shows that the effectiveness of the vaccination program. Okay, so the other word, it shows that the successful of the vaccination programs nowadays is show the result. Okay, but it's not all. It is not all. But look at on the statistic, we can see that still we have the light at the end of the tunnel. So that the vaccine is the last. Okay, that was one of the future that we can be depend to cure this COVID-19. Perhaps that when we having the vaccination programs above than 80% for each of the country, it potentially can be cure the COVID-19 to protect the COVID-19 spread, okay, spread all over the country. So Malaysia is looking into the policy. I just want, if you're giving the opportunity for me to share here, the Malaysian government targeted to get at least 80% of the vaccination program to be vaccinated to all the Malaysian people by February 2022. But initials, the Prime Minister announced that it could be earlier to achieve for the 80% of the vaccinations program to all the Malaysian people by end of September 2021. So perhaps that this forecast, it can be materialized. This forecast is actual, that we can ensure that the aviation industry is back to fly again, and without compromising any others SOP, which is set by the Malaysian as well as for the World Health Organization. I believe that is a good sign for this airlines company to especially related with the economic, and the good signs for the country itself, okay, to gain revenue or to increase the GDP overall, okay, especially in Malaysia and the Asian region. Okay.
That's a very good initiative by Malaysian government to impose restrictions on getting your injections properly, and all Malaysians covered within the country. So that's a good initiative, so that aviation industry in Malaysia has a foreseen a strategic future. So when it comes to the aviation industry, pre-pandemic, we were focused on carrying passengers as well as cargo. I'm talking about the pre-pandemic days. So the post-pandemic, they were coordinating about repatriation flights, taking your own people from other countries to your home country, and as well as carrying cargo. So let's discuss on the airline economic side, which is available seat kilometers, revenue passenger kilometers, and load factors. So for the audience, I'll give you heads up what is ASK. Available seat kilometers means it gives the passenger capacity for a route in a specific aircraft, and as well as RPK in the sense, revenue passenger kilometers, how much of revenue passengers carried on a specific route. Revenue passengers means fare paying passengers. And when it comes to load factor, so it is the correlation between ASK and RPK, available seat kilometers, and revenue passenger kilometers, where the profitability of the airline is measured. If airline route has a higher load factor, it is good for the airline, and if the route has a lower load factor, it is a negative impact for the airline. So, Mr. Hasrol, what can you comment on the future values of load factors when it comes to the airline economics on carrying passengers? I mean, post-COVID.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Thiessen. Okay, I'm giving a view before the pandemic COVID-19 and then the post-COVID-19. What you can see the difference in the aviation world now. As you know that in the aviation industry, before COVID-19, the source of revenue is coming from two elements. One, from passengers, second, from cargo. But recently, the airlines company introduced a new source of revenue. If you're familiar with the words, we call that is a ancillary revenue. Okay, so this ancillary revenue is the additional income for the airline company. So that the word indirect revenue to the airline company itself. Before the COVID-19, most of the revenue is coming from these two elements, which is passengers and cargo. Okay, against talking about this too technical part in the financial, especially related with this aviation term. Okay, if you let me share you the terminology in the accounting terminology in the aviation perspective, like we call it is a aeronautical revenue, non-aeronautical revenue, and aeronautical expenses, non-aeronautical expenses, and ESK, CASK, ASM, CASM, RTK, okay, RPMs, and etc. So many things. Okay, these are terminology, okay, used to explain about this aviation's accounting. Okay, actually, aviation, talking about this source of the revenue. Of course, the airline company is very particular about the cost. Airlines company is under the oligopoly economic structure. We look at in the economic perspective. Yeah, oligopoly economic structure. The characteristics of this economics types is this economics. Everybody can be open a business in this economic, but it's very challenging. Okay, it's very challenging. It's required intensive capital investment, okay, and very high risk in this economic, and then very low profit margin. Okay, we look at on the statistics. Says that most of the investor are reluctant to be invest in aviation world or aviation industry because of this risk, because of the low profit margin. So how the challenge for the airline company, how to ensure that the airline company able to be giving a good dividends to the shareholders or to the investor. That's why the element of the accounting is very crucial. The ways that the airline company set the price ticket, okay, the ways that airlines company sets the cargo price, okay, based on this factor. ASK, the other words. ASK stand for the available seat kilometer, or some other airline using is ASM. Okay, available seat per mile. Okay, mile means that is nautical mile. So, but normally for standard measurement, we call it is a kilometer. We call it ASK. To set up ASK, we need to ensure that each of the passenger seats should be occupied by the passengers. Okay, statistic shows that if the passengers occupy the seats less than 70%, okay, so this airline company running in loss in the operation. If the company or the commercial airline company is fly just only for the passengers, this why you can see is that the before COVID-19, the airline company are combined these two mechanism. One, carried passengers. Second, carried cargo. That's why you can see the aircraft, they have two compartments. One is a upper compartment, is sit by the passengers, and lower compartment will be loaded by the cargo. Either is your wide body aircraft or narrow body aircraft. Wide body aircraft means that the bigger size of the aircraft, and narrow body aircraft we call it small size of the aircraft. Okay, so these are things that source of the revenue, and new era is coming in. Okay, new era coming in. I just want to relate this source of the revenue from the airline before COVID-19 to give you the clear picture about the source of revenue, how the airline company generate revenue. Based on the business model, airlines company business model. Okay, technically we can see that two business model available in the world, but new era shows that we have three business model in the world now. One we call that is a full service network carrier. Second, we call that is a low cost carrier, and third, now recently we call that is a hybrid business model. So these are three business model. So for the full service network carrier, some other definitions called is conventional business model. If you look at on the previous journal, they say there is a conventional business model. And then this conventional business model, they only focus with two sources of income: passengers, cargo. Okay, so new era coming in, low cost carrier. Okay, low cost carrier business model, actually this is new, not a new business model, but actually it's coming with the right time. Okay, this business model actually mentioned that the audience is being implemented back years 1969. Is a proof that this business model is a fail. Yes, it's a proof that this business model is a fail. Why is a fail? Why now is a low cost carrier is a booming? Okay, I'm talking about before COVID-19. Because of the technology. Because of technology, yeah. So during that times, back to 1960s, okay, they have no internet connection. So when the passengers wanted to purchase a ticket, need to go to the counter physically. Okay, the cost is there. Cost for staff and other costs is related under the operational cost of the airline company. Yeah. But now you can purchase a ticket using online. You can book your flight using its application. Even you book your flight using your palm or your smartphone, example that. Okay, you can check in your flight using your palm, using smartphone before you reach the aircraft site. Okay, you can confirm your tickets using smartphone. Okay, you can check in your baggage using a smartphone. So that the good things for the airline company able to reduce our manpower, means that the workers, okay, who have been in the aviation world, so that the work can be reduced, the operational cost nowadays. This is why you can see that low cost carrier well, okay, grows, okay, before the COVID-19. And then look at on the new scenario that coming from this ancillary revenue. So this ancillary revenue is a new era how the airline company able to get the source of revenue. Is the source of revenue from the ancillary revenue coming from the we call it is a commission based concept. It's coming from the FFP, frequent flyer program. It's coming from the we call that is the advertisement and etc. So these are the element of the ancillary revenue. So this element of ancillary revenue is shown in statistic. If show statistics, once of the airlines company in the UK, be exactly is Ryanair, they're able to get this revenue from the ancillary revenue, more or less around 50 to 60% from the total revenue from the airline company. You see that how this airlines company able to get the alternative revenue more than conventional source of revenue. So that the potential of the ancillary revenue will be contributes to the aviation industry. The three elements of the ancillary revenue here, like I mentioned to you earlier, is about the commission base. Maybe you can have experience visit for the airline website. We can see is that on the airline websites nowadays, it's not that mainly for the airlines company. You can see that the travel agents over there. You can see that hotel bookings over there. You can see the car rental, over there. You can see is that any other things over there. So the word is a one-stop center for the passengers. So that the website is developed by the airline company of friendly enough to the passengers. So that when the passengers visit this website, they will get anything. They will get the ticket flight. They will get, you can register the hotel accommodation. They can be rental for the car rental in the website directly. So all the transaction here, of course, they're giving to give some revenue to the airline company, because using is a platforms, the airlines platforms, the website itself as a platform for the passengers to purchase these services. So that can be generated revenue overall to the airline company. This one is before COVID-19. Look at on the post COVID-19. When we having discussed last time with the industrial player during my sessions with the Asia's panel during that time, they say is that the border now is closed. After COVID-19, nowadays, the demand of the airlines company still there. The passengers still want to fly. The only restricts passengers to fly because of policy. The only thing restrict passengers to fly from one place to another place because of the border is closed. Once the COVID-19, after post-COVID-19, when the vaccinations program is successful, when the border is open, so the passengers is going to be back to the industry and fly. So you just wait until the border is open. So post COVID-19, overall we can see is that the airlines company able to be back to the industry. So then the passengers able to fly, and I think but we take a times, because the economics nowadays is effect because of the COVID-19. It's not that for the airline company itself, it's others airline company itself, others industry. So it might be related with the purchasing power of the passengers or overall of the country. That's why I like to add here related with this per capita, salary in the particular of the country. It shows that the purchasing power of the people in the particular of the country to fly, okay, to buy things. So that the word the airline company look at in these two factors to ensure that they're able to back on the industry post COVID-19. I think the source of the income still remain unchanged. It might be a new norms will be implemented, okay, in the aviation industry later on post COVID-19. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, that's nice. Mr. Hasrol, the most common thing in the industry, which is the operational cost for the airline. We have fixed cost and variable cost. So fixed cost, for example, the aircraft purchasing and fuel. And variable cost, as we all know, paying salaries for the staff in an airline company. The most common principle which airline practice is laying off their staff to reduce the operational cost so that the airline can survive. So what is your comment on that?
Okay, thank you for your question, Kishan. Okay, before I proceed further with your question, I just want to add on with the statistic here. Yeah, add on with statistic with the aviation industry. Talking about the load factor. Okay, load factor in the Asian region. Okay, overall is based on statistics. Okay, 2020, the load factor of the industry now is reduced 17.8%. Okay, reduced 17.8%. But overall, in the globes, it reduced more or less around 30 to 50%. Okay, so look at on the statistics. So to answer this question, one of the factor, of course, related with the border is closed. Okay, that's one of the factor. Because this is the reason why the passenger not flying. That's why the load factor is decreased. Okay, and then look at about the cost. Okay, talking about the cost, about the fixed costs and the variable cost. Okay, you know the airlines company is like the other business. They have the fixed cost and variable cost. And the fixed cost, we know that is fixed. Even those that the aircraft's not flying, we still need to pay. Okay, the cost it's like what is rental, aircraft, okay, sets, and etc. But for variable cost, it's fluctuated. So that the word it might be affect the proportionately of the volumes or the production. The other word it could be referred with the numbers of passengers or payload. Is that if the carried passenger is more passengers, okay, more aircraft fly from one place to the other place. So the variable costs slightly increase. Okay, slightly increase. So how the airline company able to overcome this? Okay, you know that for the challenge for the airline company, once of the variable costs, you can, if you look at on the financial statement, in the income statement, exactly, once of the variable cost is related with the currency exchange cost. Okay, this one of the element. Maybe it's not being highlighted. Okay, some of the books, but if you look at on the financial report, that's one of the variable costs is related with this currency exchange cost because it's a fluctuated. Okay, it's fluctuated. And the others related with the fuel cost. Okay, we mentioned that the fuel cost is one of the challenge of the airline company to maintain the cost of products, cost of service. Okay, you know that the challenge for the airline company to ensure that they're able to maintain its cost. Looking about this, the fuel cost is different for one country to the other country. Okay, and the fuel price is fluctuated every day. Okay, fluctuated every day. How the airline company able to ensure that the fuel price is fixed with a certain period? Okay, it's challenge. It's very challenge. The airline company is not that appropriate to increase the ticket price. Okay, based on the fuel price. but it should be fixed. Okay. But the costs of the airline company are fluctuated. How to ensure that airline company is balanced between the operational costs and the revenue generated? Okay, so this is the dilemma from the airline company itself. So to explain about this concept, that's why the hedging is coming in. The fuel hedging, okay, fuel hedge, the other words. Fuel hedge, to simplify this definition, we call that is the agreement between the airline company and the fuel producer in the world, okay, to fix the price with a certain period. Okay, the fuel hedge, the maximum is 3 years. Okay, 3 years maximum for 3 years, based on statistics, 3 years. So that this mechanism able giving advantage to the airline company to fix a price, especially on the fuel price. Okay, that the airline company able to predict the expenses, operating expenses. We call it operating expenses, because look at on statistics. If you look at statistics, more or less around 30 to 40% operating cost is coming from fuel. Okay, it's coming from fuel. So other 70% coming from other source, other costs. So you can see that how this 30% can be affect the overall of the airlines company profitability. Okay, it's challenge for the airline companies. And then look at on the statistics. I just want to share you here. Statistics related with the IATA. IATA and ICAO is set the carbon dioxide gas emission under the carbon footprint policy for the aviation world to achieve at least 50% of the carbon dioxide emission by years 2050 from the statistic 2005. So look at in this phenomena, okay, it's challenge to the airlines company and challenge to the aircraft manufacturer and challenge to the aircraft engine production. Okay, the only thing, okay, based on my readings that on the journal, the only things, okay, numbers of factor, the only things we can achieve this, one of the factor is technology. One of the factor is technology. If you look at on this fuel consumption back years to 1990s, okay, back years to 1990s, the carbon dioxide gas emission is increasing from years to years, but it's coming to years 2000s, okay, the carbon dioxide gas emission are decreased, but the frequent flight is increased. Okay, this is statistics shows, statistics show. Sorry, I cannot share here in the screen. Okay, so statistics show, you can look at the graph is tremendously is a decrease. Look at on this phenomena, the successful of technology. Tishan mentioned to me, is introduced to you that I've been experienced in aviation. Yes, I do have in the flight operation department last time. I'm the one who have been calculate about the aircraft flight fuel for one place to the other place, for one destination to other destination. We just imagine that I give you an example that for the aircraft type is 747 368, okay, series number, okay, flying from KL to Jeddah, okay, fly from KL to Jeddah. So in the IATA code we got a code to JED, okay. So the carried fuel is 120 ton of fuel, and the burn off or trip fuel for this aircraft is 105 ton. One aircraft per trips. Okay, we just imagine that how many aircraft flying at one time, 1 million. Okay, so it might be contribute to the carbon dioxide emission and air pollution. One of the statistics shows that the contribution to the air pollution in the world is one coming from the aviation industry. Is scary to get on the statistics. They're coming from the aviation industry. So I read this journal, and the challenge coming to the airline company, how to reduce it. Okay, so the perspectives coming to reduce the cost, then leasing is coming in. Lease the aircraft. Last times, for conventional business model, like is in Malaysia, we call it is Malaysia Airline Berhad. Normally, this big airline company, they tend to be purchased the aircraft, bought the aircraft. Okay, but look at on the this perspective now, especially in the ones of the airline company is low cost carrier in Malaysia. It's not bought over the aircraft, it's leased the aircraft. Lease, it can save a cost to the airline company. Leasing, aircraft leasing have two methods. One we call is on balance sheet. The other one we call is off balance sheet. These are accounting terms in the aviation industry. When we're talking about this on balance sheet, when the airlines company lease the aircraft from the leasing company, at the end of the leasing period, the aircraft is belong to the airlines company. This is why we call it is on balance sheet. Okay, talking about the off balance sheets, at the end of the leasing period, the airlines company need to be surrender back the airline company to the leasing company. So the other word, this aircraft is not under the balance sheet. Okay, the other word, the value of the aircraft is not under the balance sheet in the airlines company, but it's under the expenses. Okay, it's under the expenses. So the other word, pay for the leasing fees to the leasing company. This is how the airline companies nowadays look at how to reduce the variable costs. Okay, to the other word, to reduce the fixed costs and to distribute all these variable costs to each of the passengers who pay the tickets, to each of the people who pay for the cargo fees and etc. Okay, if you look at the statistics now, maybe you get the news from the biggest aircraft manufacturer in the world. One's coming from Boeing, the other one's coming from Airbus. Okay, Boeing back 2017 been announced that going to be discontinued for aircraft types Boeing 777 series, and suddenly end of the December 2017 and announced that the Boeing's company going to be continue back produce the Boeing 777 in the market. Why it's happened? Because of the competitors from the others aircraft manufacturer, which is from Airbus company. Okay, Airbus company introduced Airbus 350 XWB. They're the word we call extra wide body XWB, which is series 800, 900, and 1000 series. Okay, because it's XWB. Yeah. So this is a new aircraft model, and then the Airbus also introduced with the new version of the Airbus 330. Okay, new version of Airbus 330 900 series. Okay, 800 series, 900 series, and 1000. Okay, this Airbus 330's aircraft types is using high-end technology from the aircraft engine production or manufacture. Is coming from Rolls-Royce, which is introduced the aircraft engine type is a Rolls-Royce Trent 7000, which is this aircraft engine able to be produce more thrust and able to be reduce the fuel consumption 30% from the predecessor's model. So talking about this predecessor's model, the Airbus 330, 200 series and 300 series predecessor's model, they have two types of engine. One's using is from the Rolls-Royce Trent 700, and the other one is using is a pre-Whitney engine. So that the word, the Rolls-Royce Trend 7000, the latest version from the aircraft engine manufacturer, is produce more thrust and high fuel efficiency that can be contribute to lowers the carbon dioxide gas emission, and it could be in line with the IATA and ICO policy to reduce the carbon footprint or carbon dioxide gas emission by 50% by years 2050. So you can see that this technology is playing an important role to increase the revenue from the airline company. And to answer this question from Mr. Tishan, is able to reduce the operation costs of the airline company itself. So I believe that when everything is take place now, actually for the post-COVID-19, the airlines company able to gains more revenue, okay, from because it's a net profits from this initiative, especially related with technology. Hope this answer to you, Mr. Tishan.
Yes, sir. It was a good discussion about the operational environment of the statements, operational statements and income statements and profit and loss. So it seems that the audience has some questions to accommodate, Mr. Hasrol. So
Yes.
Rani, over to you.
Yes, Mr. Hasrol, we have 3 questions from our participants.
Okay.
The first one has been submitted by Sharaf. He's asking, because of the pandemic, we're all aware that a lot of people, especially in the aviation sector, have lost their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants to know, as a fresher, as like people who are interested to join the aviation industry in the future, what is your comment on that? Are there actually like opportunities? Should people look forward to joining the aviation industry from a job perspective?
Okay. Okay, answer the first question. Okay, talking about the job opportunity. Anyway, thank you for the questions. I know that these are questions coming from the students, okay, and it's coming from the people who are being patient in the aviation industry. Okay, look at on this job offer, the job opportunity for the airlines company. If you look at on the current scenario, yes, okay, you heard the news across of the globes about the employee retrenchment, especially related with the aviation industry. So most of the people lost their job now, okay, including a pilot, okay, including the ground staff, non-aviator and aviator will be related with the aviation industry. But look at on this scenario, okay, any other future for the people to get the job offer post COVID-19. So on my view, yes, okay, on my view, yes. Why I say yes? If you look at the ones of the news coming from Emirates Airline. Emirates Airline nowadays open back their border. They start call all this, the senior pilot will be retrenched during COVID-19 to report to work. And the ground staff is request to be report to work because the operation is start now. They says that, okay. So the other word, look at in this phenomena, okay. I can see is that the aviation is back, okay. It's back to the industry post COVID-19. So what the people who are being patient about industry, to keep yourself ready, to equip yourself with a sufficient knowledge about the aviation industry, especially for those who have been study in the aviation subject or aviation qualification. Okay, you can keep yourself ready and keep yourself updated with the aviation world. When the COVID-19 after the post COVID-19, that the word when the aviation's back, you are ready to be in industry. Okay, you are ready to be in industry. Well, I can say that the job opportunity is there. Okay, based on ratio, like I mentioned to you earlier in the first discussion, one aircraft required more or less around 100 people to manage this aircraft. 100 people here is not that too rigid with the pilot and crew. The others operation, like is flight operation department, like is a ground handling department, like is engineering department, like is catering department, like is a cleaning department, okay, and etc. So this department, okay, is required manpower, okay, is required manpower, okay, just only for you to ready to keep yourself ready to enter to the business, to enter to the aviation industry when the industry aviation or airline company back to the industry after post COVID-19. So what I can say is that it's about the study durations. Most of the most of the program durations 2 years and 2.5 years. Okay, now you're studying aviation. Perhaps that when you have been complete or you graduate for the next 2 years, is aviation is back in the industry, but you are ready to be placed in the industry, in the aviation world. So please keep yourself ready. But what based on the explanation that I explained to you just now, the other word I can say that you still have a chances. Okay, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. The other words that the aviation industry is back in the world. Now you just keep yourself ready. Okay, so especially on the post COVID-19. This hope is answer you for those ask me these questions. Right. You're not mistaken, Sarah, is it?
Sorry. Okay. The
Not
next
mistaken,
one.
is Sarah, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The next one is a submission by Captain Amin. He's saying that post COVID-19, in his view, the countries should look at an option to acclimatize to the new normal and move on. What is your view on this? Because countries like Maldives have already opened out to tourists, as well as Bhutan, who's planning to do the same. So what is your view on the new normal?
Okay, thank you for the question. The new norms is a must in the aviation world. So, like I mentioned to you earlier, before COVID-19 and post COVID-19 or existing now, we can see that we changed 360 degrees. So post COVID-19 actually is a new era of the aviation industry. Okay, look at the current situation. Each of the aircraft, when arrive at destination, this aircraft need to be sanitized. Okay, directly. The passengers need to be quarantined. The crew need to be quarantined. Need to be vaccinated by the COVID-19. Okay, and then IATA's is introduced about the IATA health passport. It's new norm actually. Before that, they've not in place that the IATA health passport. We just only have the international passport and visa to fly from one country to the other country. But now we add on one more document. We have the IATA health passport. Last time we did not have this IATA health passport. We only have the health declaration form. This all. Okay, this all. All the countries have this health declaration. Even in Malaysia, we implement this health declaration. Even for domestic passengers, okay, is implement for this health declaration. But coming to this post COVID-19, is the IATA health passport is one of the new initiative and new norms, okay, and will be applied and comply all the airline company, okay, in the world now, okay, probably in the world. Yeah? Look at on this country who been rely the source of economy or source of revenue from the tourism, like Malaysia, like is others country such as Maldives. Okay, so if the government is not the open the border, so that the words it might be impact the GDP or the Maldives itself. So this why you can see that why the Maldives government is open the border and let the tourists is fly to the particular of the country that can be boost the economy. Okay, because one of the element in the country itself to increase and we could is under the economic balance between the import and export. Okay, that the word in tourist industry or tourism industry we call it is the tourism itself we call it is under the export. Okay, even though we not export the products, actually we are encourage people to be in the particular of the country to spend. Okay, to spend. When the people spend, so that the word we contribute to the GDP of the country itself. So on my view, okay, the new norms is in place. That the vaccinations program should be ensures that they're able to protect the health system in the particular of the country, and the standard operation procedure is going to be in place, even though post COVID-19, still need to wearing a mask, still need to have the social distance, still needs to have to sanitize all the times. Okay, either for the passengers and all this equipment. Believe me, the new era later on the cargo itself, the people who are being involved in the cargo operation need to be vaccinated, and the cargo before they be loaded to the aircraft compartment need to be vaccinated, need to be sanitized. Okay, need to be sanitized, including the compartment, to ensure that the aircraft is free from the COVID-19 virus. These are new norms coming in. So challenge for the airline company, it could be related with the cost. It could be related with the cost. Well, it costs to sanitize the aircraft is a cost. To sanitize the aircraft compartment is a cost. To ensure that the vaccination program to be taken in place, all the stuff is a cost. Okay, including to implement the vaccination programs. Okay, to the passengers to ensure that all the passengers should be vaccinated before flight is a cost. Okay, either this cost we call is the strategic partnership between the private sector and the government sector, so that the collaborations between the government sector and private sector should be take place to materialize this achievement, and to ensure that the safe the country, and specifically for the airlines company and the aviation world. Perhaps this answers the question from Captain.
Right, thank you very much. And there's another one submitted by Ainul Hafiza. What are the initiatives that have been taken by the regulators in Malaysia other than the civil aviation? You had spoken to us about what Civil Aviation Malaysia is doing. So anyone else, such as the Malaysian Aviation Council, in easing the burden of the aviation industry?
Okay, thank you for the question. Related with the regulator, as per referring with these regulators statements that the regulator should be look at on this new norm. Okay, new norm here, the crew, the person who are being involved directly with the operation should be vaccinated before he or she fly the aircraft. So this principle, okay, is being introduced by the or initiates by the Malaysian regulator. But the Malaysian regulator, it cannot be we can put all this obligation, all this responsibility to the regulator. But the airline company are playing the role and take part of to this initiative. Example that the airline company need to be ensures that all the crew should be vaccinated before fly and should be quarantined before fly with a specific period, comply with the World Health Organization's policy and the local Ministry of Health in Malaysia. At the meantime, the Malaysian government has initiated this. Recently. That's why you can see the national carrier of Malaysia is introduced this concept. Introduce concept such as the staff need to be vaccinated first, okay, and then all the passengers need to have the IATA health declaration, need to be registered online, and this system need to be verified by the airlines representative before the passengers on board. So look at on this initiative. Actually, this one of the initiates by the Malaysian government and also been supported by numbers of the airlines company in Malaysia to ensure that the SOP or standard operation procedure and new norm will take place. Okay, so look at on this. That's why you can see that the statistics of the Malaysian passengers, okay, is using the facilities at this KLIA is increased now. It's increased. Okay, so I think for perhaps that after the post COVID-19, this initiative will be fully implemented with all these airlines company in Malaysia, that it can be protect the Malaysian people, it can be protect all the stakeholders, and to be protect the industry, okay, affected by the COVID-19. Perhaps it's answer the question to the participant.
Right, thank you. And there's another one submitted by Azri Ahmed. He asks, what kind of promising business strategies and models could be implemented in order to give better hopes of a successful rebound for airlines, as well as travel retail stakeholders in the post-COVID-19 world?
Okay, thank you for the question. So, post-COVID-19, about the business model. Okay. On my view, the airlines company cannot be depend on the conventional source of revenue now. Okay, so the strategy or the new business model should be taken in place. Talking about the new business model, it might be the potential of the hybrids business model coming in. Okay, look at on this commercial aircraft. If you look at on statistics, most of the national carrier is carried passengers. Okay, only a few. Okay, some airline company carry a cargo. Okay, to balance this phenomena. Okay, especially on revenue for the airline company. So the new business model need to look at into the technology or e-commerce. E-commerce now. Like I mentioned to you earlier about the statistics show about the e-commerce. Most of people nowadays is shops using online. Okay, so post COVID-19, for the first 6 months, okay, it could be a big low demand of passengers, okay, but the cargo, it might be increased because people start to open the economy. The government start open the economy, and then people, when they open the economy, so the other word, people go to work, and then the purchasing power of the people is increased. Then people start buying. Okay, so the airline company can be focused on the e-commerce. Okay, focus on the e-commerce. E-commerce, it could be more to the cargo. Okay, my view is that the airline company look at to increase percentage carried cargo, the other word, part of the load factor, compared with the passengers. Okay, that it potentially can be expedite the process, airlines company to gain a revenue or profits or stop bleeding in the financial statement. This is my point of view. And one of the opportunity that the airlines company able to take part, which is ancillary revenue. So on my point of view is that the ancillary revenue is one of the elements that can be contributes to the overall airline company, okay, income. Statistics shows that the ancillary revenue is one of the mechanisms that is effective airline company to gain a revenue. Okay, examples that I do have mentioned to you about the statistics related with this. One of the airline company able to get more or less around 40 to 50% source of income coming from the ancillary revenue. Okay, of course, not all the revenue, all these ancillary revenue component can be implemented. Maybe one of them, okay, one of them, even though they have the ancillary revenue component, but it might be one or two ancillary revenue most effective enough to be implemented by the airline company. Definitely, the airline company need to be studies about this character in the particular of the country, so that the airline company able to strategize to implement the strategy. Either is a good for the commission base of the ancillary revenue element, or it could be related with the frequent flyer program, or it could be related with others like is a frequent flyer program. All these things need to be in line. Okay, this strategy in line with the country itself, and look at the population and the buying characteristic of the people in the particular of the country. Then the airline company able to overcome the issues, especially after the COVID-19 or post COVID-19. Perhaps if answer to the audience.
Right, and I would like to conclude with just a quick rapid fire question with you. So you can just answer with like the first answer that comes to your mind. It was 3 questions submitted by Marlon. His first question is, what would be the best or the most demanded job in the aviation industry? What is your opinion on that?
Okay, thank you for the question. Related about the most demanding, okay, demands, okay, of the job opportunity in the aviation industry. Look at on this ground handling service. Ground handling service is offering the huge of the job opportunity. And then related with the others related with the operations. Like I mentioned to you earlier, to handling the aircraft, we are look at only the pilot and the cabin crew on board, but we are forgetting that the numbers of the employee will be on ground. They are in the apron area, to be exactly in the aviation term, we call apron area. So apron area in the tarmac area is handling the ground vehicle, okay, like tow truck, like is the bed loader, like is the tractor, the drinking water truck, the lavatory truck, the catering vehicle, and others operation. So the high demands is coming from the operational job opportunity. So look at on this phenomena. Okay, most of the airlines company have an experienced people, especially handling in the ground handling. Okay, during my times, just want to share to you, during my times, the ground handling peoples who are working in this airlines company just based on the working experience in the airline company to accomplish their tasks and responsibility and jobs. But new eras nowadays, they have numbers of formal educations qualification offer in the markets, especially related with the aviations, okay, tasks. But very few of the institution offer with the ground handling courses, okay, very few, okay, very few. So I think this is a loophole, okay, loophole, and the other word, this opportunity from others institute to introduce the ground handling program, okay, to ensure that the people able to get the formal academic qualification from the ground handling, okay, qualification, and then it can be fulfilled the requirement of the airlines company, especially related with the operation. This is how I look at into how to ensure that the people are ready to be in the aviation world, okay, to take the opportunity to work in the ground handling, okay, in the aviation world, that it can be giving a chance, okay, to the people outsider to be back to the aviation industry, or to the newbies to be enter to the aviation industry. Okay, perhaps that can be answered the audience.
All right, and just one final question. What is your comment on, will technology replace the human labor or human skills in the aviation industry?
Okay, thank you. Okay, this is a conflict. This is a conflict. Some people, okay, this way you can see is that the generation, this is a generation related with generation. Maybe you heard about the Gen Y. Sorry, maybe you heard about Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, or Gen Alpha. Okay, it's a three. Before that we got baby boomers. Baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z or Gen Alpha. So this is a generation. Okay, so talking about technology. Okay, talking about technology, it's been the other word is been manipulated by this Gen Y and Gen Z, because these two generation is IT savvy. Okay, it's IT savvy, and because of new technology, the new job opportunities coming in. Okay, new job opportunity coming in. The other word, this job is not available during that times, during the baby boomers times, during the Gen X time. I'm giving example to you about the web developer. Back to 1950, 1940, baby boomers era. They have no internet. They have no job opportunity for as web developer. But nowadays, because of the technology, they create a new job opportunity as a web developer, programmer. And the new job opportunity coming is hackers. Okay, you know, hackers is hack the system. It's one of the profession nowadays. Okay, it's one of the professions nowadays. Hackers, it can be divided into three. Yeah? One, we call it is a white hackers, gray hackers, and black hackers. Right? So these hackers, especially in Europe, they have the specific body to recognize these hackers. In other words, this program we call the professional hackers certification to recognize these hackers as people who are in the industry involved with the technology. What the function of the hackers? When the web's developer develops the website or system, these people going to be employed and going to be hack the system. Hack the system here, not that to be destroy the system. Hack the system is to test the system, the strength and weaknesses of the system. Okay, from that they can come up with a mitigation plan, how to overcome it, to ensure that this system is being stable and being the other is resistant any other threats outsider, especially related with the airlines company. Okay, new opportunities coming in. The conflict related with technology. So is that the technology is going to be take over the physical jobs in the airline company? Some of them I can say yes. Some of them you can say yes, but some of them is to create a new job opportunity. But again, it depends on the generation. I giving some analogy to the audience here. Let me share the analogy here. Some other people they like to be since the people physically. Okay, likewise, in the airlines company, some of the people they like to have the personal engagement with the service provider. You can create the satisfaction and consumer value because the one is related with the qualitative measurement. It's about satisfaction, it's engagement. That's why it's 7 P's coming in. One of the elements is physical evidence and people itself. Okay, so some others people wanted to have the service without engage with the people, especially with new generation. They tend to be use the technology to engage, okay, with the people as a medium for them, for he or she to get the service or to have the service. Likewise, now the people can purchase a ticket through online, okay, without presence at the counter. So normally it's been look at a new generation. This initiative. So that the generation look at on the statistics. Okay, the new generations now is growing. Okay, new generations now is growing. The chances that the airlines company to adopt a technology is very high. Okay, it's very high. The reason is to ensure that the effectiveness of the operation in the airlines company. Okay, likewise, you can see is nowadays when you check in you send your parcel from your house, the people come over to collect the parcel. You can track your parcel movement until arrive at the recipient doorstep. You can see that you can track. Last time they have no other system, but now you can have this system. Okay, so that the technology, I agree that the technology will take place some of the physical works at this aviation industry, but look at in the overall perspective of the aviation industry, it create a new jobs, create a new job opportunity, especially relate with the technology. Okay, relate with technology. But the good things for the company is able to reduce a cost Okay, we call it intensive machines principle in economic. Rather, we're using is a labor intensive principle. Okay, so the change from the labor intensive principle to the machine or automated, okay, intensive principle. Nowadays, challenge is coming to this aviation industry. Maybe some of you heard about the artificial intelligence, AI. Okay, so this AI is one of the new things. Okay, will be challenged to the airlines company. So the other word, maybe some other time, you can have a conversation with the check-in staff at your homes. Okay, it's artificial intelligence. Maybe you are virtually to be present at the airport site and to purchase a tickets virtually using the artificial intelligence. Okay, the other word is new technologies coming in. So if we take over some of the physical job, but it will create a new job opportunity. But depend on us how we are able to grab this opportunity, especially for the new generation. Don't wait to learn a new technology. If you are not that learn of the new technology, you're left behind nowadays. So the world nowadays is very dynamic. Last time, by statistic 2000, the economy, the technology changed every 18 months. Now, every month is changed. Okay, you can see that the technology is updated every day. Every month it changed, come up with new model and etc. So if you learn a technology nowadays, left behind, but you need to be in line with the technology, learn about the technology, then you are being in the path of the technologies evolutions. That's why the Industrial Revolution 4.0 introduced in Malaysia, especially it can be adapted to the aviation industry. Hope this answer can answer the question from the participant in the audience.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hasrol, for your time. Those answers were very informative, and I hope everyone learned something new from that, because it's coming from such a professional perspective, and that's very much appreciated. So thank you very much, Mr. Hasrol, for that. Tishan, on to you.
Yeah, Ranisha, thank you. So, Mr. Hasrol, to conclude the session, what kind of information will you give to the audience? Like, we have ex-colleagues who work in airports and airlines, and the people who laid off from their companies, and there are people who are young who are stepping onto the aviation industry. So what kind of advice would you give for the future of aviation industry for the aviation professionals in your perspective?
Okay, thank you for the question. And my point of view, very simple. Don't stop learning. Okay, don't stop learning and need to be learn new things in the aviation world. In the aviation industry, it's every day keep changing. Okay, because airlines company involve numbers of threats. Okay, economics threats, political stability threats, disease, COVID-19 now threats, terrorist threats. Okay, and a lot of things. Competition, of course, is normal business. The competition is a threat to the airline company. So these are threats. Is required people who have been involved in the aviation industry to be dynamic. To be dynamic means that to be look at in the environment and react with the environment. Okay, so the other word, you cannot stop thinking. Okay, you need to be dynamic. Look at in the current situation and the G2G policies. One of the elements need to look into, especially related with the diplomatic relationship with one country with the country. Even those in the alliance company is not that involved with the governments, but especially related with the diplomatic relationship. But indirectly, yes, is affected to the aviation industry. So my advice is don't stop, learn, keep going, learn a new thing in the aviation industry, because the aviation industry is changing and introduce a new thing. I just want to add on here about the technologies. Yeah. Last time, look at on the aircraft glass cockpit. It's analog. Analog means that all this aircraft equipment is analog, using is a magnetic compass, all magnetic instrument. But now, you can see the aircraft electronic glass cockpit. And the Airbus 350 introduced the optional version for aircraft glass cockpit, which is they will equip with the touch screen, like you touch your smartphone in the aircraft glass cockpit. This is a new technology. Okay, so the other word, last time pilot fly the aircraft, especially the old aircraft model, the pilots to pull aircraft, when the aircraft take off, you can see the pilot's arms, muscle, like a bodybuilder. Yes, it's true. But now, aircraft can fly just using its side stick. It's just only side sticks. Last time, aircraft fly either half fly by wire, but now aircraft fly bit full fly by wire. Boeing last time is introduced is a half fly by wire for 777 series, but now Boeing introduced full fly by wire, but still using the iconic yoke control in the aircraft glass cockpit. It's iconic for Boeing. For Airbus, you can see that using side stick to operate this aircraft. This one you can related with technology. Don't stop. Okay, don't stop. Even the pilots, even the crew, even ground staff, even the operation staff, even non-aviator, okay, in the aviation industry, need to learn new things, okay, in the aviation world. Okay, I think it can be answer to you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Hope we'll be able to come back to Malaysia soon again after pandemic.
Sure.
All right, Mr. Abdullah, over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Hasrol. It was a very, very informative session. I think I myself have learned a lot. And as Ranisha said, it's a professional perspective and a different perspective because even at MCAS where we do our lecturers are from Sri Lanka, from a different country. So when we involve professionals like yourself from a different nation, we get some different perspectives of the aviation industry. So that's very beneficial for everybody, including our students and the Sri Lankans who joined us today. So thank you very much, sir, again. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to enlighten us and aviation enthusiasts. And Mr. Tishan, thank you very much for helping us to organize this event and moderating the event. And I thank you all for joining this event. Thank you very much. Stay safe and take care.